everyone, it's Ann Stewart, and I'm going to be talking to you about an update or a remodel that you can do on your house that you may not even be aware that you should be doing. I get a lot of people who say, hey Ann, should I update my kitchen? Should I do my bathrooms, carpet, this whole thing? And what a lot of people miss out on that is huge right now, like huge, is outdoor living areas. So I'm going to show you my house because last year, unfortunately, I had to do this remodel to my backyard. It was a long story, but it had to do with taking down some trees that were sort of really unhealthy and things of that nature. And we ended up having to do a backyard remodel. But what I also learned in that was backyards are where it's at, or having outdoor living spaces. So what are the outdoor living spaces that are the most popular right now? Well, the first one is having fire pits. People love the idea of sitting around and doing s'mores or having a glass of wine or having dinner with friends around a fire pit. So here's an example of one. You can see that. We put in like a stone wall for people to sit, and we plumbed in some gas. It was a pretty easy setup. It wasn't overly expensive, not as much as you might think. And we had a professional company do it, and we had several bids. So if you want some good, recommendations, hit me up. But the backyard living spaces, especially fire pits, are really big right now. It just seems like it really adds an element of livability to a house, and people love to be outdoors when the weather gets nice here in Portland. So I highly recommend you consider adding a fire pit. Or if you don't add a fire pit, let's talk about other spaces you can add. I'm a really big fan of just having some outdoor furniture that really sits in an area in the backyard that feels quaint or cozy. So for instance, maybe you have a little nook. This morning I was at a client's house that I'm going to be listing, and she has a wonderful backyard patio. There's a little deck, and it kind of has a little concrete wall in the back, and then she put in some really nice, couches and things, and some wall art. It just looks really, really quaint. And people love to sit outside when the weather's nice and have dinner or have a glass of wine or have friends over. So a place where you can kind of entertain is always preferred. The other thing too is that, sometimes you have a backyard, sometimes you don't, depending on what type of house you have. I always recommend, spaces that you can hang out in. So I'm going to show you my hammock. I don't know if you can see our hammock up there. Now, a hammock is a pretty simple thing to have in a yard. Of course, you might want to have two well-spaced trees, but it's another element to say, oh, there's a place to go rest or hang out, or, my son loves to hang out in the hammock. It's just like his little peacetime. If you can have a little garden, something that you like to, plant the vegetables in, or have a spice garden. I've seen people do like really salsa gardens. Those are really fun areas to have in a yard for people. And then, maybe just like you don't have to have a big yard to have a cool yard. I think a lot of people are under that misconception. Hot tubs are a great space if you have a little hot tub area. I've seen people make a really cool little, overhang for that space. If you want an outdoor kitchen area, those aren't too expensive depending on what you're hoping to do. Covered areas are great. So if you like to be outside, even when it's not so sunny outside, maybe a little rainy, a little covered space, but really focus on your outdoor living ability. A lot of people miss that when they upgrade their houses, and it really adds value to a house. People love to walk through a house and then go to the backyard and go, oh, I could totally live out here in the summer and the springtime. So think about those things. If you want any suggestions, or you want some great landscaping companies that can do some really neat things for your yard, hit me up. I've learned about a few good ones as I had to do mine.